Hello everybody, Dave here for the first episode in about 2 months of Dave Gets Wood. It's not episode number 1, it's episode number, I don't know, 20 something or 70 something. But yeah, I've not done any episodes for a while. And excuse me, as you can see, the table is still not finished. If it was finished, the videos would have been put out. Now, I'm not going to be doing any actual woodworking in this particular video. This is more sort of an update as to what's been happening over the last couple of months and where I'm up to at the moment and what's coming next. As you can see, I've got many or all of the parts laid out for the table in pretty much their correct positions. Now, about 40 minutes ago, I couldn't have done this, but because there's a load of stuff on the table, so I've had to clear the table to be able to lay out the pieces, and that's why I'm not doing anything because I'm already struggling physically, and it is now quite late. So there's no way I'm going to be doing anything that's going to be making any noise. But physically, I'm not up to doing anything. So I suppose really should talk a bit about why I've not been on with the Dave Gets Wood stuff, which I'll get on to in a moment. I'm trying to think if there was anything else that I needed to let you know. Well, I suppose the only other thing really is to do with the actual table itself. So I'm going to move the camera, move it a little bit closer to me so I don't have to talk as loud. So we're back in now. Okay, so let's start. We've already started. Okay, I'll let you know why I've not been on for, it is literally 2 months since I've been able to do anything woodworking wise, and there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one is there was one particular day about 2 months ago where I'd gone to the petrol station, put petrol in the car, went and paid for it. No, sorry, it was before I paid for it. I'm trying to think now. That's right, it was as I was getting out of the car to put petrol in, something happened with my lower back which had not happened before. It was something different, and I was in quite a lot of pain and I was struggling to walk, but I managed to put petrol in the car and go in and pay. But I was on my way to my parents' house to help them out a bit, just to sort of help tidy up their house a little bit. On the drive over there, whatever had happened in my back started to get worse, like so much so that I could barely press the clutch pedal. That's how much it was hurting my whole leg, but also really hurting my back. Got to the parents' house and I couldn't get out of the car. Not without assistance. I ended up getting helped out of the car, and I literally collapsed in the garden, unable to walk, and ended up just lying on the floor. Now I lay on the floor on my back because that was more comfortable. There was no pain, or very little pain doing that. But any time I tried to move, I basically got an electric shock from the base of my spine across to my hips and down both of my legs. So I couldn't even put any weight on my feet. Like if I tried to put weight on my foot, there was an electric shock straight up my leg into my spine, which was absolute agony. And so I rested for a while, probably about 40 minutes. I just rested on my back, and then when I tried to get up, that took about an hour and a half, because I physically could not stand up. it took a hell of a lot of willpower, Polish medication, because I didn't want to take medication. I basically wanted to sort of get up, get in the car, drive home, and see how we get on. That's why one reason why it took so long to get up, because I was determined to get up, but I couldn't. And in the end, I had to accept defeat. So my brother went and got some of the medication he'd got, some powerful painkillers, and I knew at that point I wasn't driving home. So I took the pills, waited for them to work, so probably another half hour, 40 minutes, and eventually managed to get up with assistance, but it took a long time and it hurt. And even though I'd been helped to stand up, I'd basically been pulled up forwards. As I was standing up, my legs were giving way, my back had no strength in it, I had electric shock pains. I couldn't stand, so someone grabbed a chair and put it behind me. I sat down and that hurt just as much as when I was standing. So it was absolutely horrible, the worst I've ever experienced my back going. And it was a different go. I mean, I've struggled with back problems for quite some time. This was something completely fucking different to everything I've ever experienced, and it was a million times worse. So unfortunately, that fucked me over. Well, not fucked me over, it fucked me up. Because I could barely walk for 2 weeks. I was reliant on other people to do my shopping for me. Now you may be thinking, well, hang on, now I've seen him doing online gaming, blah blah. That's in my apartment where I'm sat down and I've been able to just sit and chill and do stuff. I mean, I couldn't do driving for a couple of weeks because I physically could not press the pedals without being in absolute agony. So I couldn't drive anywhere, I couldn't walk anywhere. There's an absolute nightmare. So it probably took about 4 weeks. I mean, not only that, I couldn't stand up straight. I physically could not stand up straight. So I was hunched over for about 2 weeks. Week 2 to week 4 eased off enough that I was slowly able to start sort of standing upright. The pain eased on the left side, on the right side, but on the left side was still bad now and again. I mean, it was so bad as well that I couldn't sleep in my bed. I tried sleeping on my bed, but I can only guess that I moved about a bit in my sleep, and anytime I moved, it woke me up in absolute agony. Like, I couldn't breathe, I couldn't move, it was an absolute nightmare. So I ended up basically spending 4 weeks sleeping in an armchair, which reclines, and thank fuck I had one, because at least with that, it stopped me from being able to move. Now, the difference was so much that if I went for a 20-minute nap on the bed, when I woke up I couldn't walk. But I could go for a 20-minute nap on the chair, and when I woke up I felt okay. It was only when I started to then physically do stuff that I was suffering. So it was clear as day that I needed to spend time sleeping in the chair. So it was basically 4 weeks of that. So I had pretty much fuck all sleep, because although when I was waking up I wasn't in pain, I wasn't getting a lot of sleep. And every time that I thought, well, I'll try sleeping in the bed again, I woke up worse. And it was like, okay, I got it. So that went on. And to be honest, I still haven't fully recovered from it. I'm still suffering with the left side. That's been quite bad recently. So I've still not fully recovered from that, which is still affecting my sleeping. It's affecting my back, because normally with my back I can feel the pressure building up in my lower back, and then I can often release it by cracking my back. But this new way the back went, there's no build up of pressure in that. It's an instant bang and it's gone. So I've had to be very careful. But also, since I had the problem, when I would, or the way I would normally crack my back, hasn't been cracking in the same way. I tried to explain it to someone the other day where previously, when I would crack my back, it was literally, it'd go crunk, crunk, crunk. So I could feel each whereas at the moment if I do it, it tends to feel more like grinding broken bones together. It's like, it's more like that rather than a click. So it's not been releasing properly. So yeah, been struggling a lot with that. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I did try, when we had some nice weather, I've got a table in the boot of my car, the coffee table, which I don't think I've been doing videos on because I decided I wasn't going to do videos on that, but because it was meant to just be a quick fucking job. But I ran out of chemical to strip it before my back went, and I was waiting to get some more to be able to finish it. Back went, stuck with table in the fucking car. So a couple of weeks ago when the weather was good and my back was feeling better, I was able to go and get some more, well, I'd actually sort of pre-prepared. I've been able to go and get everything I needed. So I thought, right, okay, on one of these days I'll give it a try, see if I can get it finished off, stripped off. I didn't last very long. It was too hot to try. The heat absolutely did me in. But physically I struggled. It shouldn't have taken much to finish stripping the table, but I just couldn't get it. I didn't have the physical energy or capability to sit there and do it. It absolutely ruined me. So I was sat there thinking, come on, I want to get this finished. If I can finish stripping it, then I can get some help to get it out, like knife to keep it in the car. I can get it upstairs. We can fucking deal with it. But I had to realise that physically there was no way I could continue on what I was doing, because it was, if I continue on, it's not a 10-minute job. It's going to take potentially, to finish stripping it, another couple of hours with the way it was going, and I can't do that. So it was really a bit of a kick in the teeth, or in the back, the fact that I couldn't do that. But at that point I realised, okay, I am still not quite right with my back. So that was like a couple of weeks ago. So now we're up to about 2 months and I'm still not right. However, I've been able to clear the table and I've been able to put the pieces on the table. So this is more preparation for what's next, which is, well, I'll get to that. Yeah, I'll mention it now. So the next step is to basically fit all these pieces together. Some of them, excuse me, like this particular end piece that we've remade, this needs its holes drilling into it, so that needs lining up and all that kind of stuff. So that's basically where we're at. I need to see if everything fits together with the legs, and basically put the table together to make sure that everything fits, we're not breaking anything, and all that kind of stuff. But that's what I haven't got the physical energy to do yet. That's why I'm trying to prepare for it. I mean, you can hear I'm already out of breath and I'm struggling, and all I'm doing is sitting here and talking. So that's the next stage. Once we know if it's all fitting together properly, that's when I'm hopefully going to be able to do a bit more, because all of these pieces can be moved into there and we can start getting them varnished, getting the finish on them, which will make a big difference. Also, for the actual underside of the table, we did a lot of carving work, dealing with cracks, splits, lift ups, where the blocks of wood had been that had pulled up or split the wood that's here. Because we had this tabletop outside last time we worked on it, I did power sand it. Now I didn't power sand it to a finish. I basically power sanded it to a it'll do for now, you're not going to get a splinter off it. Because the next stage for the actual underneath of the tabletop is going to be dealing with any repairs that need to be done with it. Whether that is filling holes, filling cracks, or where we've got, like for example, just quickly show you here, where we've got here 3 big sort of divots where there was wood that split. We took it off and it ripped the wood. So I can either just clean those up or I can fill them. Now filling them may be an option, but then I had to think ahead. I had to plan ahead on that one because I was thinking, well, there's the potential on the underside of here. I think there's a couple of bits where rather than filling it with glue and wood, maybe I'd be better off filling it with resin. I could kind of perhaps use the underneath as a little bit of a test area for the top. But the epoxy resin that I've currently got, the minimum amount you need to make for the chemical reaction to work is way more than I need to do repairs on the underside of the table. So it'd just be an absolute fucking waste. So what I've done is I've reordered some of the epoxy resin that I started using, which is in the smaller tubs, bottles even, which need a much smaller amount, minimum amount, to allow for the chemical reaction to happen for it to work. So I've gone down that route. Now, because I've not been able to physically do anything for the last few weeks, I've been able to get a few things into place. So I've already got the resin, we've already got the varnish. I've basically should have pretty much everything that I need to be able to do this. Although my brothers have borrowed my jigsaw, so if I need to cut something, I'm pretty much up shit creek. But we've got everything that we need. So once we know that it's sized up right, we can, like I said, we can move the pieces into there so they can be varnished as and when I can do them. And as for the table repairs, we can make a start on that. A little frustratingly though, because it has been 2 months since I've done anything, so everything is a little dusty, so it's all going to need a little bit of a clean before I get going, but that's by the by. So that's kind of where we're up to with the table. I've been mentioning as well about a special project that I was going to do, making a gift for someone. I think I've recorded sort of the first sort of episode of that, but there was no point putting it out there because I've not been able to do any more, because I decided that I basically need a specific tool to be able to complete that project or do that project. And it's not the cheapest of tools, but I know that my dad also wants one, so we're going to sort something out where we'll get one. I can use it until I finish that project, and then we can move it into his workshop. But it's something that I can't use inside because it is basically, it's a bench sander. So I don't know how big the machine is, I need to go and see, but it's basically, it's a machine that will go onto a bench, and on it, it's got a big belt sander. You may have seen at school where the belt goes round, so you could get a piece of wood and put it on it and it'd sand it for you as it goes round. But also there's a disc sander on the side, so if you could also basically push it into the disc like that, as that spins round and sands it. So I need that tool to be able to do what I want with that project, because basically I've got pieces of wood that are kind of this kind of shape, but I need to turn them into a more oval curved shape. and there's no way I can do that with the current sander that I have. Well, I could, but it'd be awkward, it'd take forever, and chances are I'd end up with a very uneven piece of work, whereas it's going to be a hell of a lot easier to have the bench sander there and just work with the piece of wood and being able to move the wood rather than having the wood fixed and trying to move a sander around it. So I need to wait to be able to get that before I can progress on that. Now, because it was a gift for somebody and it's ended up being delayed more and more and more, I have given them another gift already, and because I'd already let them know, look, your present's going to be late because I'm making it. But then my back went, so then I had to go, well, now it's really on the back burner because I can't do it, I can't touch it. So I ended up getting another gift as well. So yeah, anyway, it at least means that I'm not now on a time limit for that gift. I've still got plenty of other stuff to do as well, because with not being able to get anything done, things have stacked up a little bit, unfortunately. So there's still the old radio, which is just here, which the radio will never work again, but we can hopefully get it looking good. I've not been able to do anything with that. Like I said, there's the table that's in the boot of my car, which I've not been able to do anything with that. There's the cabinet, which my TV is on at the moment, which I've not been able to get anywhere near starting with that because I can't start that until I finish the little table, because the little table is what the TV had got on. But not only that, my mum has now given me another chair to try and restore, because it's not in the greatest of conditions. It's an old chair and it means something to her. Now I've taken it for two reasons. One, if I can restore it, great. Two, to get it out of my mum's way for the moment, because unfortunately the day after my back went, my mum got ill quite badly. Basically she had a massive stroke, and that has also been something that we've had to deal with as a family over the last 2 months, and that's been really difficult to. It's not been. Hang on, let me get words right. I was going to say that's been really difficult to deal with. However, I think personally I dealt with it very well. But the fact that there has been a lot going on with that, it has had some difficult moments, and that is another reason why I'm recording this at the moment, because these videos are and were a way that I was able to talk about things, clear things out of my head. It's one of those things, sometimes you need someone to talk to, but you don't really want anyone there to listen or to talk back. And that's what you can do when you're making videos like this. You can talk and there isn't anybody there, oh yeah, be alright. Not to say that's what, that isn't a good thing, but it's just sometimes you need your own thoughts. But yeah, so that it's been tough, because Mum was in hospital for 5 weeks, which actually isn't that long given the average hospital stay time of a stroke victim. Now, it turns out that the stroke hit the right side of her brain, which means a memory and everything like that should be okay. But she did lose all physical ability on the left side of her body. She got the left leg back fairly quickly. The left arm is still not functioning. So there's been a big change in Mum's life circumstances, and Dad's, to be fair, because now he's going to have to care for her. Although there is a lot of, there's help from the carers and things like that, but it's still in the very early stages of working out what Mum needs at home, and she's struggling with a few things. hasn't been able to spend as much time with the dogs as she would like. But yeah, hopefully things will improve. But it's had a sort of double knock-on effect for me in that, because my back went, and I mean I didn't go to the doctors because the research that I did, it basically said there's no point going to the doctors unless you're still in pain in 2 months' time, like severe pain. So I am going to go to the doctors at some point to explain what's happened. But from the research that I've done, it would appear that I may have slipped a disc in my back, and that disc has then also pinched the nerve, which is what the electric shock sensation down my legs was. So considering that I was suffering with that, there was not a lot I could do regarding helping the family with stuff, because I couldn't fucking do anything, and that was hard to deal with. The situation that Mum was in, I felt I coped with quite well, but the fact that I was stuck, unable to do stuff, really did hurt me. And to be fair, as soon as I was able to walk a little bit and drive a little bit, I was doing more than I should have done. Things like taking Dad to the hospital to see Mum when we were allowed to visit, because that was another thing. We weren't allowed to visit for 3 weeks because of the COVID situation. So yeah, I was doing a lot more than I should have done, and every time I did something, I set myself back. So that made things quite difficult. But then there was also some difficulties with the family. Not with the family. There was some differences of opinion, I'll put it, between me and one of the family members that resulted in rather big arguments, to be honest, which has been that's been difficult to cope with. I found myself having to remove myself from certain situations in fear that I wasn't going to be able to hold my tongue, because one of the ways I've tried to live my life is, especially in the last 10 years, is as openly or as honestly as possible. And if someone's being a dick, chances are I'm going to tell them that they're being a dick. But if they're going to then argue that, even if they are being a dick, then it could escalate. And when you've got someone that would appear to have either not heard very important information, or agreed to certain things and then has no knowledge of it whatsoever, and then you've got a number of people telling them what happened and they don't believe you, it's a very, very difficult situation to be in, because you're telling the truth and giving relevant and informative information, and you're effectively being told that you're full of shit. And situations then occur which set things back for Mum, probably a few weeks when she went home, because there could have been things put in place before she came home, but because someone didn't believe what they were being told, it took time for things to be put in place, like 2 weeks after she's been home, and realisation that things haven't worked properly. There's been a lot of very personal arguments there, or like I say, I've had to remove myself from the situation so that I don't lose control, because the last thing I want to do is argue and say something I may regret. But that's where Mickey Flanagan says, if you can have an argument with someone, keep it on topic, right? Don't go making it personal, don't go making it about anything else, keep it about what the argument's about. And I've tried to do that. But anyway, so all of that has been very difficult to cope with, to deal with, for the whole family. But also, yeah, I wouldn't say more so for myself, but definitely for myself, in terms of my back went, Mum had the stroke the next day, and there was fuck all I could do. it was a rather large sense of uselessness, and people were asking for help and assistance, and I'm like, I can't walk. So I can't walk, I can't drive, I can't do anything. So yeah, it was very difficult. It's one thing, like if you suffer with anxiety or depression and people are like, oh, why don't you come out for a drink? And you're like, oh, no, I'm not, I don't feel too well. That's completely different to, I really want to come and take part, but physically there's fuck all I can do about it. That hurts more. Because the desire is there, but the ability isn't. Whereas with the anxiety and the depression, the desire isn't there, but the ability is, but the desire isn't. So it's not like you go, oh well, I really want to go, because that's not what you're thinking. You're like, I really don't want to go. That's why it's anxiety. So yeah, so it has been really tough. So anyway, so a bit of information about Mum being ill there. That's why I've taken this other chair, which is an old chair. It's like a fold-up chair. I have no idea if I'm going to be able to do anything with it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to take it apart to repair it in pieces. That'd be the best way to do it, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to take it apart. So I may just have to strip it as it is. There's not a lot of finish on it, so I may be able to just sand it off. I don't know, I need to have a look at it at some point. But at the moment I've said to my mum, so I'll take it, but I haven't got, it's down on my list of things to do at the moment, because my number one thing is still this table, and this table is something that, the table's not bugging me. The fact that I've not finished it has really affected me. So you can imagine over the last 2 months, I mean, I've mentioned before that when I've had stuff on the work table out there, and it's just every time I walk past it, I was like, oh, I need to do that, I need to finish that, and it gets at me. Well, I've had 2 months of that with this table, with shit piled on it, thinking I need to do the table, but I can't do anything with the table because there's shit all over the table, and I need somewhere to put all that fucking shit, and I can't move that shit because I can't so it's all been very mentally demanding over the last couple of months. And to be honest, I've not really spoken to many people about the situation with Mum, and I will say to my brothers, if you don't like the fact that I've mentioned it in my video, then apologies, but tough shit. These videos are for me, not for others. I haven't told the story to inform other people. I've told the story because me personally, I have to get it off my chest, and if I don't particularly want to talk to anyone specific, this is how I can do it. It's one of my coping mechanisms. So yeah, sorry, not sorry. Right, I've waffled for about 40 minutes now ish, and we've done 0 woodworking, but it will be starting again soon. I don't know when, because there's still things, obviously personal things I need to deal with, but we will be moving forward with it. And yeah, hopefully we can still get a good finish with this table, because that'll be a big turning point with a lot of things. And I've said before, you achieve little goals, it helps boost the confidence. One of my goals for today was to get this table cleared with all the pieces of wood on it. I've achieved that, so I'm happy with what I've been able to do today. And I will set my goals for the next few days, depending on how I feel in the next few days. But yeah, it will be nice when the table's done. Okay, I'm going to stop there. So thanks for watching, take it easy, and yeah, don't linger on the arguments you might have with people either. Deal with them, get it sorted out. It's the best way, rather than having any grudges. So alright, have a good one everybody. and we'll see you again soon for another episode of Dave Eventually Gets Back to Wood. See you in a bit.